start the conversation with consultants, episode 55. Moving ahead, I am Rima Kumari, HR Associate and ECR Coordinator of SKNG.
Okay.
Hello, I am Pooja Kumari, HR Associates and OD Coordinator of SK Associates and Group, and we both are your host for today talk show. So please kindly introduce yourself, Mr. Patrick.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my name is Patrick Chun, and I represent a group called the IITTI World Civility Index, and we work on this since 2011. So it has been 14 years. And now we are part of the United Nations. We are part of the official partner of the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, or what they call DISA. That's part of the United Nations Sustainable Development, helping them in achieving some of their goals, or what they call SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. I think there are something like 16 or 17 of them. And we focus on decent work and youth employment in that regard.
It sounds good, sir. Moving ahead, the only things that stand between you and your dream is the will to try and believe that is actually possible. It's a beautiful quote by Joel Brown. So this quote I would like to bring our talk show name conversation with consultants with episode 55 of our guest talk series.
Okay. When do you want to start? You going to be recording this, or how does it work?
Yeah, recording.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. When do you want to start? Show me. I don't know what your format is.
Uh, Sir, you know you gone through the mail,
I'm sorry. How was that again?
gone through the mail draft, mail.
Go through the main. I'm not too sure how do you mean.
1 minute.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your organization, where you're located, and
Yes. First of all, organization located in Hyderabad, Telangana. Okay, and as I had provided you with all the information in the mail, did you go through it first?
I did, yes.
Yeah. So there's nothing new in this, just answering the question that will be asked for you. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, sure. Whenever you want to start, let me know.
Yeah, wait. Okay, moving ahead. Before we begin our talk, so let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Group. We are an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMET Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs globally, covering areas such as compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital strategy and operations. Our passion lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bring their dreams to life and contribute to global economic growth.
All right, that sounds good. When did you start? Can you hear me? Hmm.
Sir, I believe your all doubts is clear.
I'm sorry. How was that again?
Sorry, I can't understand. What are you asking?
Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry about my accent here. When did you start? When did your organization start?
So the our organization is started in 2021.
Hmm. It would be nice if I can see your faces so that, like they say in communication, uh, 60% or 70% is non-verbal communication. So the facial expression is it's vital importance, especially since
Yes, I know.
we are at such a long distance, Canada to India.
So okay, fine. So let's start the meeting. Okay.
Okay.
If you any doubts, then in May kindly WhatsApp me. I will clear your all doubts. Okay.
Uh, what are my thoughts? I'm sorry. I have trouble understanding what you're asking me.
If you any queries, any problems, then kindly connect with me. I will resolve your problems. Okay. Then now let's start the meeting.
Okay, sounds
Oh,
good.
okay. Start Pooja Kumari.
Before we begin our talk, so let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Group. We are an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMED Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs globally, covering areas such as compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital strategy and operations. Our passion lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bring their dreams to life and contribute to global economic growth.
Entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation. It's a powerful force that can reshape industries, transform lives, and make the world a better place. We are committed to supporting students, their entrepreneurs on their journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, networks they need to succeed.
Okay, so you
Okay,
work.
now before we begin our show, let's take a moment to introduce our guest for today. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Patrick Chun, CEO of Greenwood, Canada, to this special event. We are truly honored by your presence today, and we are thrilled to have you share this momentous occasion with you. So, we would like to start this interview with our first question for you. And your first question is, where did you grow up and how did it influence your career path?
Well, I grew up in Canada here, and 40, 50 years ago, Canada was very different from what it is now. Now we're more diverse. There are a lot of friends from India coming over here to study, for example. So we do see a lot of Indian young friends coming over. And our organization, beyond Greenwood, the company that I co-founded, um, we sold a big part of that many years ago, and now we are running a nonprofit called the IITTI World Civility Index, and we're helping a lot of young people around the world in having an easier time to get a job and fit into companies and be contributing. So how to be a better team player, how to have better people skills. So that's what the World Civility Index is like. So that has been going on for the last 14 years with the World Civility Index, and I'm part of that movement in that regard.
Nice, sir. Moving ahead, your next question is, who has been your greatest inspirations personally?
Well, there are a lot of people who are inspirational. One of them, I'll give an example, is somebody who I work for, and she was my manager. And she was managing a group of engineers, I myself being trained as an engineer, and she was managing it in a way so that the group would have the cohesion, so that people would work together in a good way. I'll give you a reason why I think she was one of the best. There are two projects run by Google, and one is Project Aristotle. The other one is Project Oxygen. Google spent $1 billion on something like this to try to find out what is the best team at Google. So after the $1 billion and many years of research doing that, they found that it is really about the people skills. And of course, at Google, they have a lot of engineers and computer programmers and so on, like myself. And you would have thought that, oh, of course, the team with the best engineers, the best mind would be the best team. It turns out to be not. It turns out those teams sometimes actually do pretty badly. It turns out the teams that are the most effective, most innovative, are teams are where the engineers can work with one another. So it comes down to people skills, or what we call soft skills. So that's what the organization I've been co-founding, the World Civility Index, is all about, is to help young people understand, especially the technical types, to understand that yes, technology is important, but it's the very basic foundation. You really need to have the people skills, so that when you go to the workforce, when you go work for a company or start your own company, you really need to think about the people that you work with, and how can you work in a amicable, in a harmonious way in that regard. So that is a skill on top of the technical skills.
Okay, moving ahead, next question. What are some of your hobbies or passions outside of work?
There are many hobbies. Sometimes I think life is too short because there are so many hobbies that I want to do. I used to play the cello, and but now I can't because there's just no time in doing something like that. So maybe if I retire, then I'll pick that up in that regard. And so music is a big part of it. And again, it relates to what we're doing. There are many things going on in the world that is really against young people nowadays. And young people, on average, they are saying that all human beings, we have an attention span of something like 6 seconds now. A goldfish has 7 seconds, so we're worse than a goldfish in that regard. And so I think something like music, and other ways of cultivating the inside of your mind or and your heart is important in that regard.
It's nice, sir. Moving ahead, your next question is, how do you usually started your day?
How do I start my day? I usually start with about 30 minutes of exercise, and go out and for a walk, and so on. So just to really wake up. I just came back from a trip to Southeast Asia, and so there's jet lag. But I always make it a point to wake up and sleep at the time of the destination. So I still wake up at 7, 8 o'clock, go for a walk and so on, and before my breakfast. So that's my intermittent fasting. They say that fasting is good for your health, so I'm trying and keep my weight at a constant level and so on. So the wellness is important.
What book has had the most impact on your life?
How was that again? Who or what have impact on my life? Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking what book has had the most impact on your life?
What group? I didn't get the first part. Sorry.
What book, kitab,
What
book.
book? Oh, what? Okay, sorry. What book? Um, there are many good books. One of them is Paradigm Shift by Alvin Toffler. Alvin Toffler has been around for a long time. In the 1980s, 1990s, he wrote a book. He wrote many books, And one of them is paradigm shift. I'll tell you why this is so important and is still relevant today. Paradigm shift talks about how the society changes and that there are major changes that comes about. For example, in the 1980s, there was the personal computer or PCs and so on with Microsoft, Windows and so on. It changed the world. Now there's AI, and AI is changing the world in a really big way. And so, for example, my group is working with many universities. A couple of them, for example, that are having a lot of effect on us is the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology Presencing Institute, and we were invited to be part of their collaboration teams to serve world problems. So one of them is the paradigm shift. We talk about how would that affect people changing from now to an AI dominated world. So, young people, take note because your life is not going to be the same as mine because jobs are going to be very different. Many jobs, traditional jobs, are going to be not existing, but new jobs are coming in. So, for example, we talk with Presencing Institute, MIT's Presencing Institute, is what kind of new jobs are going to be there. And so together we co-created new careers titles that we think are going to be important in the future. One of them is, for example, instead of having merit based on technology, like in engineering, math, and so on, or what they call STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math, it is mostly going to be based on people, how much empathy, how much care we have for one another. So those are going to be major jobs, if you may, major career path that young people should think about. And society is going to be very different in that how we value what is important. And so, like I said, AI is going to be designing everything, doing most of the heavy lifting in traditional jobs, but new jobs are coming in. So young people, that's what our group is doing, helping young people learn about, for example, social etiquette, returning emails. A lot of people don't return emails. They quit their jobs just by walking out. You know, those are kind of things that are really tearing the social fabric apart. But we really need to be building the social fabric as what we're doing with United Nations. So those are the kind of things that are changing very rapidly.
It sounds good, sir. Moving ahead, your next question is, how do you balance work and personal life as a CEO?
Yeah, like I said, you know, I try to exercise 30 minutes a day, every day, and I've been doing that for the last 40, 50 years. And so that's still keeping me having the good energy and so on. So I really encourage young people. Oh, going back to the MIT Presencing Institute, together, after many, many sessions of collaborations and so on, we invented something that is under the umbrella of the World Civility Index, a sub-index called the Personal Health Index. So this is all about health and wellness. And right now, there's a global epidemic of obesity in India, in China, in Canada, in US. A lot of people are becoming overweight and obese. And that is, to a lot of economists, is a ticking time bomb because in Canada or in the US here, we're going to run out of money into helping people, you know, dealing with that. If you look at the trajectory, the number of people who are having high blood pressure, diabetes, overweight, not taking care of themselves is going to cause the health system to go bankrupt if they have not already done so. So the personal health index is trying to give incentive, just like the World Civility Index, trying to give incentive to citizens of the world to have better people connection under the World Civility Index and having better health, better self-care, better preventive medicine for the 21st century. with the personal health index. So together, with the World Civility Index and the personal health index, our group is very, very busy around the world into promoting this kind of awareness and working with industries, with companies where they also want to contribute in that regard. So with the government having this mandate to help people having a better health, and companies and us in a nonprofit space, the NGO. So there's a triangle in trying to make this better, and so we can report to the United Nations Sustainable Development that there are progress in that regard. One of the things that is very irritating, I'll tell you a little story. It's last year, United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres reported that the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG I was talking about, they are something like 85% behind schedule. 85% behind schedule, ladies. And that is, they have a 15-year ambition from 2015 to 2030. In that time span, they want to achieve certain goals, the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And last year was halfway. So 2024, halfway, they reported that it was 85% behind schedule. So, of course, the COVID-19 epidemic, that didn't help. So right now they're asking all the stakeholders, people like ourselves, to say, what can we do? So we in Canada, we raised our hand and said we may have a solution. And from our little nonprofit, we're saying that we should really be thinking about from the inside first, from the inside, before people can have the mental space to think about the big things like environment and climate and all that. If people don't feel well, if they are sick or they are not respected at work and at schools and so on, they can't think about the big things. So now you may say, well, okay, Patrick, you're just one group with this World Civility Index. But remember I talked about the MIT Presencing Institute? They are there. They're MIT is a technical school, engineers with hard skills, but they created this presencing institute. Presence meaning think about now. It's the first thing they do at a meeting is to have 1 minute meditation. So remember, MIT, a bunch of engineers, the first thing they do at the meeting is having meditation. Now, I'll tell you a second group. We got invited to a group called IDG, the Inner Development Goals. And IDG, Inner Development Goals, was set up by Harvard University, Stockholm University, London University, and a few other organizations. They founded this thing called the IDG, the Inner Development Goals. They have something like 30,000 members now in over 100 countries in just a few years. So they spread very quickly. And the Inner Development Goals is a response to the United Nations SDGs. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, IDGs is Inner Development Goals. So the argument again is the same, is saying that unless people can fix and cultivate their inside development, they cannot have the outside. So it's developing from the inside going out. So MIT, Harvard universities, many other universities are actually seeing that we need to swing the pendulum to inside, to the inner development, people skills, caring for one another, empathy, for example, and also the health part. So that's the latest trend.
Very nice. Moving on, next question. What is a personal value you never compromise on?
Um, Personal value. Uh, it has changed over the years. I mentioned about myself being an engineer and so on. I was not a very nice guy looking back. I was one of the person who did quite well in engineering in my work and so on. I was perhaps a little bit more arrogant than now. Now I would want to think that I'm a better man now because I have two daughters. They're probably about your age, and so I look at life very differently. I look at life. That's why I co-founded this IITTI World Civility Index. Is because I see what really matters is really about people. It's really about caring about one another, not so much about thermodynamics and calculus or differential equations and doing it well and so on. Those are important. I'm not saying those are not important, technology and so on. But really, when all of us have no jobs, there needs to be something that people need to redefine our value. And so instead of measuring everything with money, for example, with the IITTI World Civility Index, working with economists and so on, they're saying that, well, Patrick, this is good because we are doing something that allow people to define themselves, earning points with the World Civility Index and showing it off. That is about not defining us people with how much money we have, but really defining as to how much refinement we have, how much care, how much empathy we have with one another. Now, you may say, well, you can't really measure that. But the thing is, though, research have already shown if people actually are immersed in these kinds of culture where they can, for example, read an article or watch a video and earn a point, using the World Civility Index, over time, they do become more empathetic. They do become having better manners and so on. And that's what they need to drive the world, with the United Nations, saying that we need to think about caring for one another in that regard. So the values shift in that we hope that it is no longer about measuring how much money you have, but by how much manners you have, in that regard.
It sounds good. Moving ahead, your next question is, what do you consider your greatest personal achievement?
Well, I'm really happy that I co-founded this IITTI World Civility Index, and the group has moved through a lot of turbulence, a lot of self-definition as to what we really do. At the beginning, we were doing corporate training, helping companies in having better people, better employees coming online and so on. So we work with university and so on. Now with the MIT and also the Harvard involvement, for example, we're working at somewhat of a different level, and with the United Nations. So those are the differences in that regard that they're really proud of in our organization.
How do you deal with stress and pressure?
Can you come again, please?
How do you deal with stress and pressure?
Oh, okay. Stress and pressure. It comes with the territory. When we go out with our group here, uh, there could be a lot of naysayers. There could be a lot of people who don't think we're doing a good job. And why do you need to have a measurement of people skills? So we have to explain to people on a consistent basis that without measurement, there's no management. So with young people right now that are listening, it would be good for them to also earn points for with the World Civility Index. They can just go online and find us. We're everywhere, and so that when they go into the workforce, human resource people that are doing the hiring, they would see that there's a number that you can give them. So if you have earned 30 points versus somebody who have didn't care, didn't even know about the World Civility Index, we recommend companies to give the interview priorities to somebody who have earned the points, because if everything else being equal, people who have actually earned 30 points, that means they have spent 30 days in reading an article, watching a videos, and so on. We don't allow binge watching. People cannot earn 10 points a day. So 30 points means 30 days. 100 points means 100 days. So at least it shows discipline. And when you can show these kind of qualities, employers like something like this. So even if you learn nothing, but you spend 100 days earning 100 points, it showed discipline in that regard. So that is something that that has been very effective in that regard.
That sounds good. Moving ahead, your next question is what motivates you to keep pushing forward during tough times?
It used to be what motivates me. It used to be when I was younger. It used to be my personal achievement. That when I was working as an engineer for 10 years, it's the projects that you can achieve. So those are things. And then I started a company, and we eventually sold that. So those are personal achievement, perhaps. But again, like I said, now I'm a different man, and I realize that it's really about seeing young people succeeding. I think that's important. I have two daughters, and seeing them succeeding, that's important. And that is to cultivate their manners, their soft skills, so that when they go in the world, doesn't matter if they're working for people, start their own companies or whatever, those skills are always transferable from anywhere. And as time goes on, they realize that the earlier they understand something like this, the earlier they can form a good path in their future in that regard. It's not just about career, but also about personal relationship. Maybe the young people want to raise a family, so on and so forth. Those are all important things. I deal with my wife. I work with my wife in very different ways now than compared to 25 years ago when we got married, because I want to think that even if she doesn't want to change, I'm the one who will change, and I did. So far so good.
Who are your mentors and what lessons have they taught you?
Yeah, there are quite a few mentors. One of them uh, told me, in terms of in business, is to really do something that nobody has done. And so even if you tell people, people may not be able to do it because it's so hard. So I think that is hard in itself, because you talk about some achievement, that you leave behind, your legacy and so on. It took us the last 14 years to talk about this World Civility Index, and a lot of people didn't know what it was. They say, "Oh, this is not important. It's all fluff. Is you can't see and touch and feel it. So it's intangible. So how do you measure?" Well, I said, "Well, we have an index, so we have numbers, so we can quantify it." But a lot of people don't understand, don't feel that it's important. So it takes a long time for us to show that there are rigorous research in with academia. So this is something that, and for example, Harvard Business Review, they have many articles, and also with the Society of Human Resource Management, SHRM. There are big human resource management group with tens of thousands of HR professionals. They talk about civility. They talk about that at the end of the day, the most important thing for human resource people to think about in hiring is not the hard skill. It's not about whether you know thermodynamics or finance or something like that. That can be trained quite easily. But it's the soft skills, the people skills, that takes long time to cultivate. It's not an education. It's not about here, but it's more about what is inside here. And here, the heart is very hard to educate. So it takes a long time. And so we're working with many content creators, for example, creating videos that not just about whether you know something or not. It's not like one plus one equals two, but it's something that affects their mentality. They put tears in your eyes to watch some of the videos, to affect them viscerally, to affect them emotionally. That is what is um, what I get up every morning to do, because it's wonderful to be able to work with a lot of young people. They have ideas. They say, "Oh, hey Patrick, we can make videos like this and so on." And so yeah, sure, we doing that, and serving many people around the world, young people around the world in that regard, so that young people can earn points and show it to their bosses, when they go into the workforce.
Um, your next question is, how has failure shaped your journey?
Yes, there have been many catastrophes, many spectacular failures in when I was running a company, and also here with IITTI. So at both Greenwood and IITTI, there are many things that went wrong, and most of the time, for example, I'll tell you what saved the company. We're thinking about, in the 1990s, we were thinking about protecting our software. So we put locks on them. And one young engineer came in and said, Patrick, we're doing it all wrong. That's why our company is going to die. And he was right. He said, we should think about serving our customers the best way possible. Forget about if people copy it, pirate it, and so on. Let them. They're not our customers. Focus on what is really important, and that is serving our customers. You put a lock on your software and so on. Yeah, you may say, but then your customers also suffer. So don't let what is really important be you lose sight of that. You think about, we got to. So we change course. So in one afternoon, um, I think that is something that I'm very happy is I was able to listen and understand and say, he's right. Why don't we change course 180 degrees? No more locks on our software. We just give it to our customers and let them run with it. And sure enough, there are more customers. They're happy, and it saves the company. So that's one failure that we had, almost to the brink of falling off the cliff, but then we save ourselves in that regard. So that's one example. So the moral of the story is, you need to listen to people, because sometimes you think you're all right. Well, what's wrong? Of course you want to safeguard everything, but it turns out that it doesn't work that way. Another example is, a lot of your listeners may know about ChatGPT, the AI software, and they are from a company called OpenAI, but it's a closed system. It's not really open AI. It's a closed AI system. That means all the software and so on are closed. You don't nobody knows what's inside. You can use it, but you don't know what's inside. So is that a good model? Well, it's very expensive, right? Bang! Out came something called DeepSeek, and DeepSeek is a software from China, I believe, and they're open source. That means all the good things, all the software, a computer programmer like myself can download and look at all the internal workings and learn from it and improve it. No questions asked. $0. And so you got to think about how things work. You may think that, well, we want to maximize the amount of money you make and so on, so we need to be close and so on. Well, Sam Altman, the founders of OpenAI, of ChatGPT, said at one point, well, it could be that I'm on the wrong side of history, and I gotta admire him into being able to being an engineer, admitting that he made a mistake and that it should be open. So DeepSeek, from a very small company in China, were able to do something like this and be generous and win in at the end of the day. So it's not always what we think inside that is right, but history would prove that sometimes you really need to listen to people in that regard. They with OpenAI, they originally want to be open, but then because they want to make money quickly, perhaps they close the system and make the mistake. So those are, very recent history that we can learn from.
Very nice. Moving ahead, next question. What personal goals are you still pursuing?
Um, well, I really wish to see my two daughters, 25 and 21, succeed in life. I'm not so much worried about their careers in Canada here, but I really think I would love to see young people be able to love one another, find somebody that they think they can work with, live with over the years. Uh, I'm old school, okay. I'm sorry, but I do see that people should need to think about getting married and have a bond with somebody, have kids, have children. Myself, when I was younger, I said, yeah, sure, I'll have a girlfriend and so on. It's fun. No kids, they're such a hassle and so on. But then my wife said, no, we're gonna have real trouble with our relationship if we don't have kids. And so we have one kid, and she said, Patrick, I think we should have two because then they have companionship. I said, oh gosh, that's a lot of work. And but then she again, she said, Patrick, we're going to have trouble with our relationship if we don't have two kids. When we're gone, they will have one another. So that changes me. We have two kids, two wonderful girls, and I love it so much that I actually say, hey, to my wife, maybe we should have a third kid, three kids. And she said, no, I'm done. The shop is closed. If you want another kid, you have to find another woman. Oh, okay. Well, that was a joke. Okay. My ambition is to see young people around the world being able to break the barrier. I know it's expensive. I know it's very expensive nowadays. Is raising a kid and so on. But I do think that unless you do that, some part of humanity is missing. Like I said, I change when I watch my girls coming into the world in the delivering room. Okay, see them actually come out into the world. It changes you. You got to be there. People can tell you, an old geezer like me telling young people what to do. You can say, oh gosh, this is just one old man telling you what to do and so on. But unless you have been there, you don't have that experience. That's why I said I have a lot of I have a lot of confidence is humanity succeeding because AI and robots, they can do all the things, but they cannot substitute empathy. They may have a simulated artificial empathy. Oh, you feel that? Oh, they can say all the right things. But real life is not about perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about struggle. It's about pain. It's about tears. It's about disappointment. That is real life. That is experience. You cannot substitute that. You can go to business school, get an MBA, and read about all the things that goes on. Those are good knowledge. But unless you really walk through that path yourself, you don't see the gravity of it. So I'm letting young people know when you see your wife delivering, going in labor for 30 hours and so on, and your kid come out and they grow up, it's a different kind of love that unless you are there, you cannot experience it. That's why I said unless young people can do that, part of humanity is gone in that regard.
It sounds good. Moving ahead, your next question is what inspired you to become a CEO Greenwood?
Um, it was not by choice. I was a co-founder, and I had a partner, another engineer that we met at a high-tech company, and we started this company building software to teach people how to speak English. That's how we started. So there was an educational software. Um, Unfortunately, he died. Uh, he died during his honeymoon in a fire. and so I was left with the company, and so I had no choice. I had no choice but to become the leader of the group because he's no longer there. At that point, he was working. We were both, like I said, we were both working at a satellite company, and I was the one who quit first to run the company, Greenwood, full time, and we decided, he should, still have a job so that you bring in some income to the company, and so when he died, and my old friends at the company, we were both at the same company, called me up and said, Hong Wen died. So that was a major blow in that regard. And again, those kind of things are very painful, but it changes you. It gives you maybe more energy sometimes, saying that he died. Very recently, just a few weeks ago, another good friend died. And right now, with the IITTI World Civility Index and the Personal Health Index, there are many organizations who want to work with us in that regard, and so that's why I travel to Southeast Asia to work with partners and friends and so on, and we mutual friends who knew this person told me that he passed away. And so again, it's very, very painful, but we decided that we want to dedicate the IITTI World Civility Index to this person. In that he would be so happy to see if we can make changes, make big changes, change the world in that regard, because we have been thinking about doing that for and actually do something for the last 20 years and so on. So it's an ongoing things. Um, so those are kind of things that motivate you. There are all these people somewhere in a parallel universe overlooking us, if you believe in that. And oh, by the way, I'm not just being faithful. If you talk about quantum physics, there are actually good evidence that the universe is conscious. We feel there are particles in the subatomic world, and scientists already found that when they are being observed, they change behavior, they change state. When they're being observed, you may say, "What? This is this is incredible," but hey, that's science. If you look up quantum physics, you'll find that. And also, there's something called entanglement. That means two particles very far apart, many light years away, could instantly change when one changed from another. So, in terms of spirituality and scientific discovery, they are converging, ladies. They are converging now. That means many things in the Indian culture, meditation, and so on, that talks about these people, this guru can have knowledge about things that nobody, in the scientific world would say they knew. They're actually true. They could be very, very true. So there's a lot of hope in that regard, in young people building their spirituality and meditate and so on, would be the most wonderful thing that could happen in the future.
Okay, your last question is, how do you define success for yourself?
Success used to be money. Like I said, used to be, hey, I sold the company for $10 million, so that's a success. That well, it used to be, that those are my goalposts. But having done that, you really need to think about the next big thing, and that's what we're doing now. So I'm very happy. I get up every day in the morning, charge ahead and so on. People say, "Hey, Patrick, you should be able to retire. Why am I doing this?" Oh, well, it's a personal commitment to nobody except myself. This is something I want to do for myself. Call me selfish, but those are the kind of things that I want to my group wants to do in helping others. So it's no longer about me. I'm expendable, but it's about having an effect so that other people get the message, or be able to share some of this kind of personal stories, if you may, or insight, if you want to call it, and be able to learn something, and also see the world a little bit differently in that regard.
Okay, moving ahead, we would like to express our sincere gratitude, Mr. Patrick Chun, CEO of Greenwood, Canada, being our guest for today's conversation with consulting. Your presence and engagement helped to make it a success. Thank you for providing insight into your inspirational journey. Once again, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome, ladies.
Further, we could also like to thank our audience for listening patiently throughout the event. Thank you everyone for joining with us today. Hope that everyone has gained some knowledge from this event. Looking ahead, we are excited to announce that our next episode 56 of Conversation with Consultants will be next weekend. We hope to see you all there. Thank you again, and we look forward to reconnecting with you next week. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us all social media handles to stay connected with us. Goodbye and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.